Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. This little weekly tutorial that I do here on my YouTube channel is designed to inspire you to break into your crafty stash and make something beautiful. This week, which is the second Wednesday in May, is the time when we do our banner of the month. And I want to change things up a little bit. I want to do a wall hanging, which is technically you can call it a banner. And we are working all this month with the stunning Timeless Moments collection from Ciao Bella paper. This is so shabby chic, just filled with gorgeous florals, butterflies, birds, teacups. I've done a full reveal of it, and I'll link to that up in the corner so you can go take a look. But we're going to be working with this 12 by 12 patterns pad. And from this, we want this green, which has this window on the back. But we're going to be using the green. We're going to be using some of these cut aparts from the cut apart sheet. And we're going to be using this beautiful, beautiful floral wreath. I've also gone digging through my stash and I found this vintage, it's not really a doily, it's like a scarf, like a bureau scarf. And I think this is handmade. The stitching looks handmade. It was a little larger than what I wanted to use, so I've just tucked it and stitched up the middle. And my plan is to create some paper layers inside of this, so we'll have pretty borders. And I've brought in some gorgeous, gorgeous lace from Reneabouquets, along with one of her laser cut clocks, which I absolutely love, and this beautiful, beautiful floral wreath. This is where we're going to go today. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the first thing I'm going to do is trim this paper down so that it fits better inside. So I think I need to take about 1/2 inch off one side. And then I'm going to stitch a row of lace across the top and across the bottom to fill in the gaps. Before I stitch, I decided I wanted to lightly distress my paper edges. So I've already trimmed my 1/2 inch off one side, and I'm just gonna kind of rough up these edges a little bit, not ridiculous, just enough to give it a little texture. And if you don't have a paper distressing tool, Tim Holtz makes a very good one. This is a Prima. I will show you. You can also use your scissor blade. Just take your scissor blade and drag it along, and it will do a similar thing. The problem is this dulls your scissors, so that's why I use the tool. So you'll have to sharpen your scissors after you do this if you use your scissor blade. So now that I've done that, I want to come in, and I think I'm going to use Forest Moss Distress ink. And I just want to ink lightly around these edges. You don't have to go crazy. You see, I'm just brushing this along the edge. And this just creates sort of a frame for our artwork that we're going to add. So you see, just like that. So go ahead, distress and ink, stitch onto whatever you use. I mean, this is just a piece that I picked up. That lacy piece, you can find those at the Goodwill all the time. They have a big bin at the back that has doilies and bedspreads and all kinds of stuff. You can poke through there and find some real treasures. But if you don't have the lace piece, you can actually, you know, like stitch this onto a tea towel, like a linen tea towel or a cotton tea towel, even a flour sack towel, and then just add the lace and you would be fine. It would still be really, really beautiful. So, you know, you have options, but look through your stuff, see what you have. Old lace curtains would work. You know, even an old bed sheet, just some sort of fabric back behind there to lend a little stability and extra texture. So, you know, use your imagination, get creative, go looking for some goodies in your closets and linen closets. Here's a little tip. I'm by no means an accomplished seamstress. I can sew a straight line, and that's about where my prowess comes to an end. So I put a little score tape in the middle, and that's going to hold it for me while I'm stitching, and I'm going to center it up. I'm not worried so much about the top and bottom being straight because we're going to put our lace there. But I do want to try to get the sides somewhat uniform. So once I've got it there, I just press it into place, and that's going to hold it for me while I stitch. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to layer my lace right along the top here. So I'm going to stitch this on first, then I'm going to come back, and this is how I cut around the lace. Just kind of, you can see there are natural breaks in the design, and just kind of go for those and separate it. Okay. All right. So once I stitch the perimeter, I'm going to put this piece here, and I'm going to put this piece. It's always hard for me to tell which is front and which is back on lace. So, and then this piece will go down here. All right. So I hope that makes it clear for you. First, I'm going to stitch the paper, and then I'm going to come back and attach my lace. Now, if you want to use, say, you know, like Fabri-Tac or beacons or something like that, go right ahead. Feel free. But I'm gonna stitch because I think it holds better. All right, so here I've stitched my paper and my lace. This part of my lace is a little bit crumpled, so just from storage. So I went along the scalloped edge, and I just used my Dries Clear adhesive lightly there, and that's going to hold that in place. So the next thing I want to do is this gorgeous floral image, and we're just going to fussy cut this out. And the first thing I'm going to do, I just call this whacking around it. So we're just going to, it's always a lot easier to work with a smaller image than it is to work with a larger one. So I'm just going to roughly whack around this and get it out of this great big 12 by 12 piece of paper. And while I'm doing this, I'll tell you that I will link to all the supplies that I can, because paper products disappear like overnight these days, on my blog, and I'll link to my blog in the description box below this post. So if you want to pick up some of these materials, you can, and you can make your own version of this. If you don't have a large piece, I meant to tell you this, the 8x8 pad has this same floral wreath, and you could make something a whole lot smaller. I just wanted to go big. I just thought it would be fun to go with a really big, beautiful wall hanging banner, whatever you want to call it. All right. So save this, because what we're going to do is tear these edges, and we're going to bring them in on the sides of this just to add a little extra layer of interest. And for fussy cutting, we're not going to mess with the center. We're going to leave the center like it is. And a quick lesson, you hold your scissor blade steady, and you think of your scissor, of your paper, like it's the steering wheel of your car, and you hold your blade steady. And this is hard because there's a lot of little innies and outies here, but hold your blade steady and trim there. See? So you see how I'm moving the paper, but I'm holding my scissor blade steady, and that is just going to make it so much easier to get a nice smooth cut. I also sharpened my scissors. Fiskars makes a little home scissor sharpener, and I ran my scissors through that. I got mine at Joann's, but you know, Joann's is gone now, or going, so that's a little sad. But I'm sure if you went to the Fiskars website, You could probably find it. You might even be able to find it on scrapbook.com. Anybody that carries Fiskars. Maybe Michael's would have one, possibly. But you can see I'm just trimming around this. I'm not going right on the line. I'm going just outside the design. And then I'm going to ink the whole thing. So I'm going to finish this up. You cut yours out, and then we'll come back and do the next step. I want to go ahead and emboss this clock. And I've hit it with Versamark. I laid it down pretty heavily. And this is Stampendist Age Gold Embossing Enamel. And I'm going to sprinkle this over here very liberally. This is a heavy metallic embossing powder, but it's like a really rich old gold when it's embossed. So you can see I've covered that really thoroughly. Now I'm going to lift it out with my tweezers. And I'm not going to like smack it around. I'm just going to gently set it down on my little craft sheet. And I always like to put my embossing powder back in the jar before I proceed from here, because it's easy to make a mess. So I'm going to put this away. A little tip, you always want to make sure that you have the right side of the clock, because these are Roman numerals, so there's a front and a back. And if I had a nickel for every time I embossed the wrong side of the clock, I wouldn't have to do these videos. I could hire somebody to do them for me. All right, I'm going to heat emboss this, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so here it is all embossed. It's just beautiful, and it's going to be so pretty on the inside of this cherry blossom wreath. I've brushed the edges of this with just a little bit of ivory paint, and I'm going to do some spattering. So I'm just going to put a little blob of paint right here. I'm going to thin it out, and I'm just going to come in and tap my paintbrush. I don't want it to be too heavy, but I just love the way a little spatter, it kind of adds an extra layer of vintage, I think. So do you see that? It's not a lot, it's pretty subtle. I'm going to do the same thing on my clock. I think I'm getting everything but the clock. There's a little bit on there. Nice. Okay, and I might just randomly brush some of the edges. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry. Now I'm going to bring in my stitched panel, and I want to do some spattering here as well. I'm covered. That's so funny. That always happens. All right, so I want to show you, I've torn some papers.
My Lord is like cool spring wind when I am tired, laden. My Lord is like cool blue pond when I am hot and fading.
All right, friends, I filmed this whole section thinking my camera was running, and turns out it wasn't. But basically what I did was I came in with the remainders of that 12 by 12 paper, and I just tore bits of paper and glued inked them up with my forest moss and then glued them down just to create this sort of broken, fractured background. And then I spattered everything with cream paint. I am so sorry. So when I say I tore it, I'll just show you, like with this, I just literally come in with my fingers and I tear a piece. And it doesn't really even matter because you're just going to be gluing these down. So maybe I'll put this, maybe I can find a place to put this one down so you can see. There. So it doesn't really even matter. Like, just whatever looks good to your eye, whatever makes your eye happy. One time, this is years and years ago, I mean, many years ago, before I'd started really doing anything, I was busy raising our 5 kids and homeschooling, helping my husband with his business. And as a treat for myself, I signed up for this little make a wreath class. It was it's a lady at our church who was doing it, and I kept asking her, does this look all right? Does this look all right? Because I was so insecure. And she finally looked at me and she said, do you like the way it looks? And I said, well, yeah, I think I do. And she said, then it's beautiful. That was one of my best lessons ever. If you like the way it looks, then it's beautiful. And just trust your eye. Trust your eye. Trust your instincts. You don't have to glue anything down until, you know, you're ready to. And you don't even have to do this part of this project. Like, if this makes you really, really uncomfortable, don't do it. If spattering paint makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. I'm just here mainly to provide inspiration and ideas and little tips that to help you, like, get free and enjoy your art and enjoy your art supplies and make pretty things. And so this is me. This is me. This is what I like. This is my style. But if this is not you, don't feel like you have to do this. That's the beauty of all of this, is that we get to be who we are, and your art really should be an expression of yourself, and it should be fun, and it should be liberating, and it should fulfill something inside you that needs to be fulfilled. I believe we are all creative. And I'll have people say to me all the time, oh, I don't have any creativity. And I don't believe that. I believe we are all creative. Just we all create in different ways. Some people make amazing sourdough bread, and that's their creative gift. Some people can garden and take you know, the earth is their landscape, and they restore it and make it beautiful. I mean, you have to be who you are, and enjoy your own level of creativity. There are creative things that I just can't do. And I don't feel bad about it. It's just the way it is. So, all right, I like the way this looks. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to go clean up my hands because I am a mess. I've paint spattered all the way up my arms. And I'll be back and we'll move on to the next step. I've got some lovely little beautiful board pieces from Reneabouquets, and I have sponged them with my forest moss, and then I went over them with Victorian Velvet Oxide Distress ink. And now I've got this Perfect Pearls Heirloom Gold. This is an older product, but you could use any gold spray that you have in your stash. And what I have found with sprays is that if you do them back and forth rather than up and down, you're less likely to get a clogged sprayer. But I just want to hit these just with a touch. Oh, see, I'm clogged here. So for when that happens, I keep these little mini misters on hand. Just going to put a little bit in here because I don't need a ton. All right. So I'm just going to give these a quick spritz. And then I'll dry these with my heat gun, and it gives it a really cool kind of vintage look. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with these. Here's our base. Here's our fussy cut wreath, and I spattered this, and then I hit the edges with more of that cream paint. And I'm just going to put some adhesive. I put some chipboard down, and I'm going to put some adhesive on this chipboard. I just wanted this to be slightly elevated from the background. And I'm going to set this. Do you see how just that little layer of chipboard gives this its own presence in the layout? All right, so there's that. Now I want to take these little pieces and I want to layer these in. I just think this adds another really beautiful layer of, you know, a different texture, a different design, a different. There we go. All right. And then down in this corner, I have this large rose. This is actually two different beautiful board sets that I've combined for this project. Put this right here. And then, can you see just the tiniest bit of glimmer that mist gave to this beautiful board? And it ages it slightly too, which is always nice. This is going to go right here. It's going to go right here. Yeah, I like that. That's just like another layer. This is looking really, really good. Does this look better than you thought it would look? I know when I'm doing all the tearing paper and stuff that it looks kind of weird. And you might have been getting nervous, like, what is she doing? But when it all comes together, it looks really good. So I've got foam tape on the back of this beautiful wreath. And let's see. I want it to go right here. And I hit this with a little of my Dries Clear and some of the super fine pearl German glitter glass. My clock. Let's get that put down. I love this clock. Clocks are such a classic circular element, and done with this little bit of gold, it just really pops. It looks great. All right. All right. Oh, I like that. want this large butterfly right here on my wreath. That's beautiful. All right, just need to look at this for a minute and think. Just about finished. I've added some Reneabouquets butterflies, and then I fussy cut this clock from that fussy cut sheet that I showed you when we first got started, and we're just going to tuck this in between our layers. It looks really neat. So we're just going to take it and tuck it in right here, just like that. And down a little bit so we don't cover up our butterfly. There we go. Just like that. And then I just want to add a little floral cluster here in this one corner. So these are all Reneabouquet flowers and leaves. Put my leaves down first. I'm contemplating putting buttons in between the lace, but I haven't made my mind up on that, and I'll probably have to look at this for a day or so to decide if that's even necessary. So if you see it in the pictures, you'll know I decided to do it, and if you don't, you'll know that I decided not to. How's that for fair? All right. And then this is a little cluster of sweetheart blossoms. I'm just going to tuck it right in here, like this. Just simple, real sweet. A pink satin bow. Right here. Can you hear it raining? We're having quite a downpour right now. Thunder in the background, so hopefully I won't lose power before I get this finished. It's good, we need the rain. It's been really dry here, and the farmers need it for their crops this time of year, so I'm happy to see it. It doesn't bother me a bit. Unless I lose power, and then I'm not so happy. All right, so that goes in there like that. And then I cut out this little teapot, and I'm gonna tuck it in. I've got foam on the back, but I'm also gonna add, this is also from that fussy cut page. This is gonna go right here. And then this little tiny jar of pink sugar cubes, which is so cute, I'm gonna tuck in right here. And that, I think, is it. I think this turned out really beautiful. I hope you can see the whole thing. It's large. It's well over 12 inches wide and probably more like about 14 or 15 inches tall. I have a hanger in my personal stash in my kitchen. I think I'm gonna have to grab that and put it on this so this can be hung on the wall and displayed, but I love this. I hope you like it as well. I hope you'll give something like this a try. It's always fun to pull out fabrics and doilies and things like that and make a layered piece of home decor, a banner, whatever you want to call this. I think it's beautiful. So that's it for me. I'll be back next week with our Choose Your Own Adventure card of the month. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Go get your craft on. Bye.